Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly. Don't go around willy-nilly. Seems to us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, basically anywhere you get your podcast. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like the Multiverse Fancast and Cinematic Adventures. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. With me via the Zoom studio is Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
It's been almost a month. We're really sorry, guys. Just scheduling and timing and just my work schedule got crazy, and we're gonna talk a little bit about why Ronnie's schedule got really freaking crazy. But before we do that, what's going on, man? Like, what are you up to?
You know, just living life.
Living life. All right. You remember when we did a series where it's like how are you doing? Like, what's new, pal? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think we used to do what are you watching? What are you reading? Yeah. And what there was one more thing that we used to do. I forget what it was.
What are you watching? What are you wearing?
No. Different thing.
What are you drinking?
Oh yeah, we did a what are you drinking one.
Yep.
So you want to do that really quick while we're here?
Yeah, let's do it.
A little ketchup episode, a little mustard episode, you know what I mean? So what are you watching?
What am I watching? Me and Jacqueline just finished season 3, which is actually the final season of Ted Lasso.
All right. I've not seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we just finished that. It's a show that I watched when it first came out, and then when season 3 came out, I watched the first episode, and Jacqueline was like, I want to watch it too. So then we had to rewatch season 1 and season 2, but...
You're a monster.
Right? So that, and then actually last night we watched, I want to say the first episode or 2 of Hijack.
Oh, with
TV, the Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba. Yeah, I've heard it's very good.
Yeah. It's slightly confusing.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, it's really good. Slightly confusing, but it's one of those because it just started. It's got to talk about it, but that's currently what I'm watching. What about you?
So watching 3 different things that I'll bring up. Right, the first one's ridiculous. We watched Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies on Paramount Plus.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Now, you're ready for this shit? So, I think it was like 10 episodes total, and we would watch like an episode, and it was all right. Like it wasn't anything to write home about, but we enjoyed it enough and we got involved enough. Now, apparently, the show got canceled. Obviously, nobody knew about it. But what happened was, to avoid some sort of tax break or something like that, they ended up taking the show off of Paramount Plus almost immediately. We finished 8 out of the 10 episodes, and then it disappeared. We're like, what the hell?
No.
So we have, like, obviously I can just Google how it ended, but we are still like, what the hell? Come on.
Probably find it somewhere on YouTube.
Probably. But it was all right. Like, we enjoyed it for what it was, but there were some good, like, production values and a couple of good numbers, and the characters were fun. Yeah. But, otherwise it was a very paint-by-the-numbers kind of just Grease type show. Yeah. But we dug it. And then we just finished the first half of the new season of The Witcher, which came out. Now, did you watch? I know we did an episode on The Witcher, but I don't think you were in it.
I was not. That's actually one of the shows that Jacqueline and I discussed about watching. It was between that and obviously Hijacked or Hijack, whatever. Yeah, and then a show that I used to watch when it was on cable, Suits.
So it's funny you say that because that's the third thing that I'm doing. I just started Suits for the first time and thoroughly love it. I've been binging it during some time off that I've had. Instead of doing interviews and setting up podcast stuff, I've been watching Suits. But going back to The Witcher, Melanie and I loved that show. We got really into it, and unfortunately, even with like the departure of Henry Cavill next season, we still want to give it a shot. But it's one of those shows. It's really funny how those shows work. Where in the first season, it's all like nudity and sex and violence and this, and it gets watered down. Certain things get watered down progressively. Usually it's the nudity and the sex scenes. Because the actors who participate, usually they get a little bit more clout, and they're like, I want to do less nudity, and they're like, okay. So we joke about it as we watch, but this new season has been really good. We've really been enjoying it. But what are you drinking?
Currently water.
Currently water as well. Yep.
Currently water, but so one of my new things is because just recently, maybe about a month or so ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago, found out that I'm glucose sensitive, so I can't drink. Not that I can't drink beer, but I should stay away from drinking beer. So my new thing is actually this thing called ranch water.
All right, Yellowstone, easy.
Yeah, hey, great show. But no, it's a hard seltzer. You know, it's got your malt liquor seltzer. It's actually really good. They have 4 different flavors, at least the pack that I bought, and it's like original, so there's like really no flavoring to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
so what does it just taste like water then?
Kind of. And then there's jalapeno, or it's called spicy, so it's jalapeno and lime. So that one's really good.
Okay.
What were the other 2?
I have no idea.
I can't remember, but so that was like my new thing, because over like the July 4th weekend, I bought that because I was like, oh, let me try something new.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like those. So it's called Ranch Water. It's bottled by the Lone River Brewing Company. So,
you know, you've always been more of a seltzer kind of guy. You know,
healthier for you.
Still got the same amount of alcohol. Like, you're still doing the same damage to your body. It's the alcohol that's doing the damage.
Not as much carb. There's no carbs.
It's called alcohol poisoning, not carb poisoning. Stupid. I know. For me, I've always been more of a beer guy, but it's funny. Mel and I were just talking recently. So obviously, Ronnie mentioned 4th of July, and we spent the day with Ronnie, but we did an early day just because we're lame now, and day drinking's hard. When did that freaking happen? But while I was at Ronnie's, I drank just beers, and I just beers. We didn't do shots this year. I was a little sad, but you know.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it. And we were not only celebrating 4th of July, but we were celebrating birthdays too.
It was a great celebration, but it was so lame. We're so old. We're boring. But I was telling Melanie, I was like, I drank beers from like 2 in the afternoon till like 9 o'clock that night. Because when I got home, I was like, I'm still gonna keep drinking. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't get like really that drunk. Like I didn't really. It was just kind of like something to do. But I'm still gonna be a wine drinker. And people can make fun all you want, but I get messed up from wine. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, I think everyone does. I love wine, but that's one of the things that the only time I'll get wine is like at dinner.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not gonna like go to a bar, you know, where there's wine.
I did once, and you guys were vicious to me. I never did it again afterwards. But for me, like when Mel and I are home and we're watching any of our shows, we'll throw on, you know, whatever show, and then we'll pour wine. We're just happier drinking wine. And also, Italy spoiled the shit out of us when we went last year. There was no hangovers, none.
Yeah,
it didn't exist. So sad. But and then
there's never any hangovers when you're on vacation.
That's not true. When Mel and I went to Aruba for our honeymoon, oh man, the last day we were doing shots at 10 o'clock in the morning with the people at the resort. Like, for some reason, we waited till the day before we were leaving at like 6 o'clock in the morning. We were supposed to leave to literally get fucking lit at 10 o'clock in the morning. And we were very popular that day because we were also like a younger couple there. Going to Sandals is very strange. We'll do a whole episode on Sandals at one point because I know you guys went for your honeymoon to a different one because we joked that we were all going to be at the same one the same week. But and then I'm going to Bermuda next year, and I think you're doing what's the other?
We're doing
beaches.
Beaches.
Yeah,
going to beaches and Turks and Caicos.
Right. So just like that whole experience. Did you do the butler service?
Oh yeah.
Well, we got to do a whole episode on just our experience at Sandals and just compare. But butler fight. I have my butler fight your butler. But so, and then the last one. What are you reading? Nothing.
What am I reading? No, it's called. I literally just started it, so I can't tell you too much about it. But it's called Sycamore Road. It's a John Grisham book. Basically, so far, like I said, I just started it, so it's essentially this like dude dies and apparently, like, he's been divorced numerous times, has kids and all this, but he hires some random lawyer from town to handle it all, and essentially he leaves all his money to like his maid.
Oh,
Yeah,
I wish I had a maid to leave money to.
yeah.
I wish I had money
Right.
to leave to someone. Enjoy my debt, future children.
Yeah, right.
Right? But for me, after I've been struggling trying to read the Witcher books. For those of you guys who don't know, the books were originally in, I think, Polish. So they were translated. So sometimes they're a little hard for me to read because they're also not in chronological order. It's very out of order in the book. So I was struggling. But once we got through this last season, I was like, I'm going to buckle down. It's going to be, 15 minutes a night where I just, power down and read. And I have been. So powering through the very first Witcher book and hopefully starting the second book before our next podcast episode, we'll see. But so here's the real reason. Now that we've caught up, there is one thing that Ronnie has not told us about, and that is the newest Misfit in the family. Ronnie, would you like to announce that?
Sure. Yeah. About 3.5 weeks ago, actually almost a month from time of recording, I had a little baby girl.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Are you sure she's yours?
Yeah. I am 100% because she looks just like me, even though her mommy hates that.
I know. She's like, I already got one. I don't need another one. No, she hates it. Don't worry. We know. So this is Ronnie's first newborn.
Yes.
Obviously, I know nothing about this. So to the point where Melanie held the baby, and I was like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to. No, thank you.
What if it breaks?
What if I break it? Like, it's already got Ronnie as a dad. It's probably already broken.
Somewhat.
She didn't say a word. She didn't say a word while we were there. Kind of rude. Just throwing that out there. Like, no, thanks for coming.
Oh, I punish her. I'm
gonna remind her who's in charge. But so, what I did was I looked up I created a list with the help of ChatGPT because again, I don't know any of this shit, man. And Melanie and I have been married for 3 years, and we want to have kids at some point when hopefully when the timing's a little bit different, not better because the timing's never going to be better, but just when timing's different. So I created a list of things that you should know about having a baby. And I want to see what Ronnie's thoughts are on some of them. Now that he's been a baby daddy for, a month now, of a girl too.
Surrounded by girls.
Surrounded by girls. Do you ever see the episode of Modern Family when all the women their cycles matched up and like Phil's like freaking out and like the kid's like, what's going on? He's like, I've heard rumors. But
yeah, luck for me at the moment. If we don't have any more kids, right? So by the time my newborn starts to do that, I might be in the clear.
Okay, all right. You might be safe.
Because my stepdaughter just turned 14.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so by the time my daughters get into that age, who knows what's going on with my stepdaughter? She might not even be here, so she might not sync up. So it just might be my wife and
You mean she might be living somewhere else? She might not be here. What's happening? What? Ronnie. Sounds like a Grimm's story, a Grimm's fairy tale. All right, so let's start at the beginning with, obviously, we're not going to talk about how babies are made because hopefully... No. Oh, my God, he did a hand gesture. Thank God we don't do video. Wow, graphic. And proportions were a little concerning there, buddy.
Yeah.
Something's looking a little small and something's looking a little big.
I can't help.
I'm sorry, but anyway. So... when you guys found out you were pregnant, obviously, exciting, very cool, like you told us to at some point. I don't remember when, at breakfast.
Yes.
But Melanie had figured it out the night before. She's a freaking detective. She did this, with my brother just announced that they're having a baby. And my wife's like, I knew it. And she did. She knew it 3 weeks ago. Like, I can't. You know what it's like to try and have a surprise for my wife? I can't. She'd be like, oh, I knew you were planning something. Well, all right, then. Here we are. That's where we're at. Enjoy not having surprises. Enjoy not having surprises or gifts for the rest of your marriage. Thank you. But so when you guys first, obviously there's the excitement, there's the joy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
When did it hit you?
You know what's funny is it kind of it didn't really hit me until I don't even know, to be honest with you. It was just one of those things, like a slow kind of build up to realization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because again, we were actively trying, so like we knew it was coming any day now, essentially.
Right.
But I mean, I would say probably not until we had like our first, I would say the first time we had an appointment where we were able to hear the heartbeat.
Yeah.
I think that's when I was like,
Fuck.
oh, there actually is something in there.
What did I do?
There actually is a baby inside of you right now.
Like she was lying to you. Like she was just joking.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
right.
Worst prank ever. I
But you know what I mean?
divorced
Like,
my wife.
because when you take like those pregnancy tests, like they can come back false positive, false negatives. They're not 100% accurate.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those like not until you got to see it to believe it kind of thing. So it was
Mm-hmm.
one of those like when we first heard like the heartbeat and everything, it was like, wow,
Wow.
like that. I just did that
I did. I
along
did.
with my wife, obviously.
She's just holding it. It's all you did all the work. Just kidding
what's-
to any women listening. I'm kidding. I know. I get
Yeah,
it.
right?
Relax.
To be honest with you, I make the joke with her all the time where she tends to hog her, right? Because obviously there's that mother connection and everything. I'm like,
Mhm.
come on, you've held her for 9 months already. Why can't I hold her?
Because you put
Whatever.
in
And then
15 seconds of work there, buddy.
it was longer than that.
30?
And then
You made
and
it.
the other joke I make is, yeah, you held her for 9 months. I held her for 33 years.
Make sure you say that at her Sweet 16 one day. That's what
Yeah,
you.
right?
Oh my god. Gross. All right. So, what are some of the things that you did to get ready for the baby as the father?
Yeah. So honestly, not too much other than obviously like go to all the appointments and everything like that. But we had a baby shower, so a good amount of stuff was bought for us.
Right.
So we only had to buy a couple things
You're
or
welcome.
whatever, and
Yeah, you're welcome.
yeah, it's all you.
I have no clue what my wife bought you. I have no idea.
Yeah, don't worry. I have no idea what anyone got us.
Nope.
My wife handles all that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so actually, again, we don't do video, but I'm actually sitting in the nursery right now.
I didn't want to point
Um,
it out, but I'm looking at all the stuff behind you. I'm like, all right.
yeah.
I figured it
So
out.
so basically, I did everything in the room. So I repainted the room. I built the closet system. It did all that stuff. Like I basically did essentially like manual labor to get ready for the baby,
Mm-hmm.
while my wife was doing a different type of manual labor.
So, all right. So I want to be very careful because we adore Jackie. We love her to death.
Yes.
What were some of the difficulties for you two during that 9 months?
It was honestly the worst part was just towards the very beginning and towards the very end, just her being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
like trying to go to sleep, like tossing and turning and all this kind of stuff. Because then she's tossing and turning, that keeps me up, for somewhat a little bit and everything like that. That was probably the biggest struggle we had for the 9 months was just her emotions, because obviously there's a lot of hormones going through the body and mood swings, different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, in a way, it's almost like your wife or girlfriend, whoever you're having a child with. Imagine how they are when they're on their period, like that moodiness and stuff like that, but for 9 months straight.
My wife's a gem
Yeah.
and a joy, so I don't know what you're talking about. But okay, I'll take your word
Okay,
for it.
I know you're lying.
Take your word for it. No, she might listen. But anyway, she got me with one of the other episodes. She's like, I was listening too. I was like, shit. I don't remember which one it
Did I
was.
say anything good?
No, I don't
Or was
remember
it
which one
bad?
it was, but like we joked about it. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. It's a good thing I never do that interview with the person who does adult entertainment. That would have been yeah.
Awkward.
And it was a dude. No, but so obviously 9 months go by, and you guys, you had what you wanted to do, and then you had, obviously how it went, and thank God, Jackie's happy, she's healthy. So how's it been adjusting since?
So we've been quite lucky, I would say. So, everyone's always asked, oh, how are you sleeping at night? How are you sleeping at night? That's always the big question.
I was
right?
going to ask.
Yes. So luckily she's been, again, it's just under a month at this point, and for the most part, she sleeps through the night, quote unquote, because obviously with newborns, they need to eat like every 2 to 3 hours.
Samesies.
Right? Yeah. So
I'm just a big newborn.
basically, it's every 2 to 3 hours we're waking up in the middle of the night, change the diaper, feed her. Again, I don't do the feeding because I don't have the supply. Right? The baby's got the demand. I don't have the supply. Jacqueline's got the supply. Right? So basically, I wake up. Most of the time, I'll wake up, change the diaper, hand her off to Jackie, right? And then sometimes Jacqueline will do the whole thing, but obviously the baby's crying, so I wake up anyway. But basically, I wait, so it's like every 2 to 3 hours, she wakes up, quick change, feeds for about 25, 30 minutes, and then back to bed. Couple times here and there, she's up for like an hour and a half at certain periods, so it's not too bad, luckily. Like, we're getting a decent amount of sleep throughout the night, from we're in bed by like 9ish, so it's good.
Do you guys have assigned roles? Like, all right, this is your diaper day. This is this time. Like, no?
No, because like I said, at night, like, I'll wake up, I'll do the diaper, feed her. So, and then obviously during the day, I'm at work, and Jacqueline works from home, so she's able to. So basically, she does everything for the most part. To be honest,
Well, it's funny because like Melanie is in the process of looking for new jobs and stuff like that, and one of the biggest questions she has to ask now is what are your maternity policies? Even at my job, they're trying to get a better maternity and even paternity contract because it's tough. Like Jackie's still on the mend at the time of recording. Like, she's still recovering. So like she can't do necessarily everything she was doing before. And people don't realize how long it actually friggin' takes to kick back. I think Melanie went inside your house just to go see her before she was able to come outside because she was sleeping, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, like, so like you said, we planned to have a certain birth, and it didn't work out that way. So we had to go to the hospital, and Jacqueline had to get a C-section. And so she actually had to stay in bed, with the exception of obviously going to the bathroom, for a week. Not allowed to leave the bed, unless it was like bathroom use, basically. And the following week, so week 2, she was able to move around, but she could only go like up down the stairs once. If she went down at 10 a.m., she was not allowed to come back upstairs until like nighttime, or when she wanted to, essentially. And then so like slowly but surely, like, recovering, and right now she's almost there to 100%. Like, she's still can't like work out. She really can't use her core too much because of obviously the incision and stuff like that, but mainly healed up for the most part.
Good. Oh God, Melanie would go crazy having to be in bed for a week. Like, she would not handle it well because she is a very productive person. She likes to keep busy. She likes working on projects. So Melanie, she's having some difficulty with her shoulder. So every time I see her trying to carry something stupid, I'm like, just let me help you. She's like, no, I got it. And then she's like, oh, my shoulder. And I'm like, because she's a very strong-willed. She likes things done. She does not like asking for help, which is something I admire and also get frustrated about with her. But like, obviously Jackie was in, you guys did an interview with Jackie, and she was talking about I Said Yes Fitness and all that. So like, is she still doing like consultations with that, or just is that on the back burner right now?
That's on the back burner. I think she's gonna start towards the end of this month, or like maybe like towards the beginning of August. So basically, she's taking like a month and a half off since the birth.
Because she was still doing. She did the women's self-defense thing while she was super pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, she worked for personal training and for her dad's business and everything. Like throughout her pregnancy, like she stopped doing her personal training stuff. I want to say like 3 weeks before the baby was born.
Wild.
And then she was literally working for her dad again. It's like office work, so not like anything crazy. Basically until like 2 days before, like a couple days before the baby was born. So I mean, she's got that work ethic. She just wants to work.
That's good though. All right, now for you though, what was your biggest anxiety-inducing moment?
For me, it was definitely having to make the decision to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because again, our plan was to do a home birth. And all kudos to Jacqueline. Her water broke. I want to say it was like around 9 Saturday night.
I think you texted us. Yeah, I think you texted us.
Yeah. And we didn't leave the house to go to the hospital. So basically she was in labor for quite a while. We didn't leave the house to go to the hospital until about 9:30. And so like that whole process of, our midwife telling us like, this is her position. It's not a good position. Let's stay here. We could try certain things. Like that right there is like, I had like a lot of anxiety and everything due to the fact that I know this is what Jacqueline wanted, and I knew, break her heart. And it did, break her heart to have to go to the hospital, and then not only go to the hospital, but go to the hospital, then be there for about an hour, then have to make the decision to do a section too. So it was like, no home birth, had to do it at the hospital. Then it was can't even do a VBAC. Now it's got to be C-section. So it's just like one thing after the other, but end result, healthy mom, healthy baby. So everything is good. Like that's the most important thing, but it does suck. Yeah.
So we said healthy baby, healthy mom, very important stuff. But how's Dad doing?
Dad's doing good.
Dad's doing good.
Dad's doing good. Right. Again, now that everything is over, it's a little bit easier. Again, like selfishly, like calming for me. Except, we're still waiting for, obviously our bills come in.
Yeah.
like that's where I'm still like.
Do you guys accept tokens of appreciation?
Yeah, right. Can I give you a hug?
One free back rub from Ronnie. Wait, what? Hold on a second. These are coupons. They're all expired too. We could do a whole episode on American healthcare and how bad it is. Like even like I go to the chiropractor because due to my work, I tend to have a tight back. Like my back and my waist and my hips and all that kind of take the brunt of my daily equipment allotted. So for me, like I go get adjusted, and I was going so often that the insurance said, well, we're not going to pay for that because you're going, it's more self-care than just because I didn't have a doctor's note saying I had an actual injury because I hadn't hurt myself yet because I was taking preventative steps by going to the chiropractor. So now I have to go to the chiropractor once a month, if anything, unless I get some sort of doctor's reasoning that I have to go. And it's like, it's so stupid. Insurance is the biggest scam. And American healthcare in itself. Like I know a lot of people are like, well, free healthcare for everyone. Well, that's great. But then you also got to worry about the quality of healthcare you're getting. And like Canada has free healthcare. Like you can go there and get free healthcare.
You got to wait 18 months for an appointment.
Right. And, say what you will. Like I know if I'm sick right now, I can go to urgent care or I could go to the emergency room and they'll see me as soon as possible. Yeah. Like I went to urgent care for a sinus infection. It cost me $25 with insurance. And all they did was give me like a steroid to help with, because the medicine, like the standard medicine wasn't working. But yeah, it's friggin' wild.
It's crazy because it's one of those things like you have to pay all this money just in case something happens.
And then when it happens, you still have to pay more money.
Yeah. It's like, well, if I'm paying you all this money, right? And I don't use the service, shouldn't I get that money back?
I think Chris Rock was the one. He's like, they should call it in case shit happens, and then you should get your money back if you don't use it. But
either that, or you just do like, hey, flat rate, like no insurance, no one needs insurance. You go to right, you go, it's $200 for a broken arm, right? For everyone pays $200 for a broken arm. You know, like, because again, you know, like I pay X amount a month for health insurance, and now once I get this bill in for, you know, the labor and all that, like, who knows how much that's going to be, right?
And how much insurance is going to even cover.
I already paid you guys X amount of dollars essentially for this, and now I got to pay an extra, you know, $1,000 or whatever it will be. Hopefully, I know it's going to be, but
I always say an ambulance is the most expensive taxi you can ever take. Like,
100%.
if I get hit by a car, or if I like, you know, like I'm at home and I cut off a hand, I'm gonna be like, put it on ice. We're driving to the hospital. I've taken an ambulance once in my entire life, and that was just because I was in a really bad car accident and I didn't really have a choice. Yeah. But yeah, it's wild how expensive anything is. But I think that's really all. I'm just, you know, congratulations to Ronnie. This is an exciting time for him. You know, obviously he's been friends with me for a long time, so he's been pretty excited. But, you know, like this is a different kind of excitement. But and any final thoughts?
Not really. Just it's one of the best things in the world.
All right. Well, my last final thought will be, remember that condoms are only 99% effective, so make sure you guys use all the proper precautions. That episode of Friends that episode of Friends was on before, and that's also what kind of inspired me to have this conversation. And it's like, condoms are only 99% effective, and Joey takes out like the whole sleeve and he's reading each one of them.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ronnie, for indulging my curiosity again. It was, you know, also it's a good time to catch up and remind our listeners who we are and what we do, and like, comment,
and why we've sucked for the past month.
Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. Yeah, but like, it's a combination, right? So my work schedule, I had some time off, and then my work schedule got super crazy and super inconsistent. And then, obviously, for those of you guys who've been listening to us for a long time, you got Sean from Cinematic Adventures. He and I can't even get together to record an episode this weekend. So it's just a busy time for everybody, but luckily Ronnie and I managed to devote some time to you guys and to each other because we love each other.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. But that is going to wrap us up. If you guys are looking for more of our content, make sure you go to our website, themisfitfaction.com. You'll find links to all of our shows, including articles. I have been working on some articles during a lack of episodes, so make sure you guys check those out. We also have all the social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We don't have Threads because I don't know what it is, and I'm not really that inclined to learn.
I know what it is.
It's Instagram, Twitter. I know it. I know enough about it. But
because they want to fight each other.
I know that's gonna be. I'd watch that fight. I would totally watch that fight. But if they do fight each other, we're gonna do a whole episode on this.
100%.
We'll talk about. We did an episode on social media. We'll do another one where they actually bare knuckle brawl. But that's gonna wrap us up for today. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie,
and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.